We might be experiencing a flashback to the 1800s, because according to Europol, there is a fresh wave of cocaine hitting Europe. According to Jan Opken Urth, head of communications for Europol, over the last 4 years, they have seen record seizures in Western Europe every single year, with more than 240 tons of cocaine captured in 2021. Officials in charge of security have decided to improve ties with Latin American allies like Peru and Colombia, where the UN claims the coca leaf cultivation has expanded by at least 43% since 2020. And what happens when there's an influx of drugs? Crime rates increase. An EU report from May 2022 blamed the continent's rising levels of violence on the drug trade. Numerous high-profile killings in the Netherlands have been connected to cocaine gangs there, especially in Amsterdam. Here are the biggest drug busts in Europe. Number 10. Operation Desert Light. In 2022, the European Union Crime Agency announced that law enforcement agencies from 6 different nations teamed together to dismantle a mega cartel of drug dealers who were in charge of nearly 1/3 of the cocaine trade in Europe. They used encrypted communications to plan drug shipments, and the amount of cocaine imported into Europe under their control and direction was astounding, to put it lightly. According to Europol, about 49 people were detained as part of the investigation, with the most recent round of raids taking place between November 8th and November 19th throughout Europe. In Operation Desert Light, police officers allegedly targeted both the command and control center and the logistical drug trafficking infrastructure in Europe. 33 tons of drugs were found during the investigations carried out in the UAE, Spain, France, Belgium, and the Netherlands. The organization was also engaged in money laundering. The US Drug Enforcement Administration also contributed to its downfall. Number 9. Cocaine seizure in Hamburg and Antwerp. Once again, Belgium and the Netherlands were at the forefront of another bust. Authorities from Germany, Belgium, and the Netherlands collaborated to complete what was described as Europe's biggest cocaine seizure, and one of the biggest single seizures in history. 25 tons of the drug were seized in all at the ports of Hamburg and Antwerp, and the Dutch police valued them at more than $700 million, while the German authorities thought their potential street worth would have reached $4 billion. For many years, Paraguay has been a significant drug transit nation. In 5 cargo containers that had arrived from Paraguay in the port of Hamburg, Germany, authorities found several tons of cocaine. Then, an additional 7.2 tons were found at the Belgian port of Antwerp after police in the Netherlands were alerted. According to German customs, this haul from Hamburg alone is the largest amount of cocaine ever captured in Europe and one of the largest single seizures globally. The enormous amount of cocaine was concealed in Antwerp in a box stuffed with Panamanian wood blocks. Smart, right? Well, until they got caught. The wall filler tins from Paraguay that were used to seal the cocaine in Hamburg were brought into Europe on a container ship. The arrests were made public by the Belgian Public Prosecutor's Office following a raid on 6 homes, and authorities reportedly searched 40 residences connected to the same international drug smuggling network in Germany and the Netherlands. Number 8. ISIS-made Captagon amphetamines. In 2020, police in Italy seized a massive cargo of amphetamines believed to have been created by ISIS in Syria and weighing 14.5 US tons. The Guardia di Finanza financial police said in a statement that they followed 3 suspicious containers to the port of Salerno in southwest Italy and discovered 84 million tablets with a market worth of $1.12 billion inside paper cylinders for industrial use. According to the statement, the investigation and bust were conducted following a directive from the public prosecutor of Naples. Police suspect multiple organized crime groups wanted to distribute the drugs in Europe. According to police, the hypothesis is that during the lockdown, due to the global epidemiological emergency, the production and distribution of synthetic drugs in Europe had practically ceased, and as a result, many traffickers with different organized crime groups turned to Syria, where it didn't seem to have slowed down. According to the investigators, the bust resulted in the world's largest narcotics haul in terms of both quantity and value. Number 7. Dutch meth haul. The greatest haul of methamphetamine ever found in Europe, according to Dutch police, was 2.5 tons, with a street value believed to be in the hundreds of millions of euros. Recent wastewater testing revealed increased meth usage in Dutch cities, which is still relatively low compared to the US or Australia. In a statement, police claimed that while conducting an ongoing investigation, they found the drugs inside an office building. They observed that the interior of the second story appeared smaller than the exterior. They then came across a secret area where the drugs were kept stashed in a big number of plastic shopping bags, separated into brick-sized bundles and hidden. Police later found a facility in the Dutch city of Utrecht that had 17,500 liters of chemicals used to wash cocaine or make synthetic narcotics. Police in Utrecht also discovered hollowed-out boulders at the same spot, which they think were used to transport the drugs. The police said that the drugs had been destroyed. Number 6. Operation Levante. The hashish, which originated in Morocco and was discovered on board a ship off the Strait of Gibraltar, was supposedly intended for an African country in the Mediterranean basin. However, this was thwarted when the Navy got involved in the seizure operation, which was overseen by the Portuguese judicial police. They approached the ship on the high seas, and according to Lieutenant Colonel Manuel Costa, the Air Force tracked the ship for 12 hours while it was in international waters off the coast of northern Morocco. Operation Levante ended with the seizure of a fishing boat that had been converted into a pleasure boat flying the Dutch flag and carrying drugs. With an estimated weight of 10 tons, this drug haul outweighs all of Portugal's drug seizures from the previous year. The investigation was conducted by UNCTE with assistance from Europol, the Maritime Analysis and Operations Center for Narcotics, MAOC-N, as well as Spanish, French, Dutch, and Greek authorities. Number 5. Swiss cocaine ring. Police in western Switzerland detained 13 members of an international drug trafficking organization and confiscated 13.8 kilograms of cocaine in what marked one of the biggest cocaine seizures in Canton Vaud history. West African cocaine traffickers operating in the western Swiss cities of Yverdon, Les Bains, and Vevey were the focus of this investigation, which involved cooperation from Geneva police, Swiss customs officials, and the police in the Netherlands and Germany. The investigators discovered that the group had brought several hundred kilos of cocaine into Switzerland, but they did not provide a timeline or precise figures. 13 people, ranging in age from 28 to 51, were detained, the police announced in a statement on Tuesday. The majority of the drug mules were of European descent, and the others were in charge of overseeing the trafficking of cocaine. Over $90,733 in cash was also recovered by the authorities. Number 4. Malta drug bust, airport seizures. This drug raid from September 2020 is noted as one of the top seizures from that year. According to reports, 765 instances of drug couriers were documented at airports in the area in 2020. The entry of nearly 6.9 tons of illicit narcotics of all kinds into the European market or their global redirection was blocked. One of the top 10 airport seizures in Western Europe involved the international airport in Malta, which involved a passenger arriving from Spain and the seizure weighing about 10 kilograms of cocaine. A suspicious anomaly was discovered by custom officers in the scanned image of a passenger's luggage that had arrived from Madrid airport in Spain. The contents of the luggage were removed, and the suitcase itself was carefully inspected. This resulted in the discovery of a false bottom, displaying 3 packets of cocaine, 9.58 kilograms, and wrapped in silver foil. 6 cannabis plants and 2 cocaine were also seized at the airport, in roughly 53% of the recorded efforts, whether they were concealed in false bottoms or walls between carried items or in unique concealments picked up by the X-ray scanning. 22% of the seizures involved medications that were ingested or jammed into the body, and 15% involved substances that were placed on the body or hidden in clothing. These guys sure do have creative ways of hiding drugs. Number 3. Belgian cocaine seizure. In 2011, 11.5 tons of cocaine were traced to Guyana on the northeastern coast of South America and were seized upon arrival at the port of Antwerp. Federal prosecutors told Belgian media that the haul was the largest offshore drug raid ever worldwide, putting the street worth of the drug load at $965 million. Following the breakup of a drug trafficking organization headed by a former counter-narcotics chief from Belgium, which exposed the existence of close ties between criminal gangs and counter-narcotics and law enforcement officials, prosecutors were able to track the massive load of cocaine that left the port of Guyana on the last day of October. A total of 20 offenders were detained as part of the operation against the well-structured criminal organization said to be behind the large-scale, regular drug shipments from South America to Belgium, including 3 police officers, a port manager, and a lawyer. Law enforcement officials anticipated the record-breaking shipment because it is thought to have left the port of Guyana after the drug gang was apprehended in Belgium and drug gangs were unable to intercept it once it was at sea. Number 2. Spanish cannabis operations. This year, in a series of raids across Spain, the greatest stash of marijuana ever seized was reportedly found. The stash, with an estimated street value of more than £57 million, 9 males and 11 women ages 20 to 59 were reportedly detained by police in busts around Spain. What's interesting is that this amount is equivalent to more than 5 adult African elephants worth of weight in cannabis. The operations in Toledo, Ciudad Real, Valencia, and Asturias resulted in the arrest of the gang, but Operation Garden's specifics weren't made public until this past Saturday. The operation, according to the police, was operated by various businesses that handled the various steps of the process from buying the seeds and planting to processing. Number 1. Italian cocaine bust. In one of the biggest drug seizures ever in Europe, Italian agents seized 4.3 tons of cocaine with a market value of more than $250 million in the northeastern port city of Trieste, striking a blow to Colombia's notorious Gulf clan. In Italy, Slovenia, Croatia, Bulgaria, the Netherlands, and Colombia, Colombia, arrest warrants were being carried out for 38 individuals who were suspected of engaging in international drug trafficking. Following a year-long investigation that also included US Homeland Security, the seizure was conducted by Italian financial police and coordinated by anti-mafia investigators. In a statement, anti-mafia investigators said that the covert operation took another heavy toll on one of the most prominent organizations of Colombian narcos. Authorities in Italy estimate that the drug cartel paid $102 million for cocaine, which the Italian market would have valued at $256 million. Agents working undercover entered the drug trafficking network that operated in the northern Veneto and Lombardy, which includes Rome, and the southern Calabria province at the heel of Italy. 19 controlled deliveries that undercover agents participated in during this investigation helped to identify important traffickers at the intermediary and international levels. Agents ended up recovering $1.93 million in cash, in addition to the narcotics and several cars, including a large rig truck that was reportedly used for trafficking. Which of these drug busts or seizures shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments.